Okay, all right. So thank you so much for joining on time, and you're welcome. This is an advanced Excel course. In case there are people who might be lost, this is an advanced Excel course, and you are all welcome to this course. Okay, my name is Royce Mwanza, and I'll be taking you in this course. Yes, my name is Royce Mwanza. I don't know if there's anything else you'd like to know about me. I also tutor at the University of Zambia, and I also lecture. I work with amazing institutes. So basically, my area of interest is ICT related, IT, ICT. So yeah, for those who are going to be interested in other courses like digital marketing and other and computer basics or advanced computers, we can interact in those courses also. That's basically my area of specialization. So thank you so much. I hope that we are going to be keeping time like the way we've started today, and we'll be consistent. Okay, we'll be consistent with these classes because that is very important in order for us to get the most out of this course. Uh, there's a bit of noise on my end. I'd like to find out if you're able to, if it's okay with you, like there isn't so much noise on my back, like my background. Are you able to get me? Hello. Okay. Everyone else, are you able to get me? Natasha, Mansa. All right. Thank you so much. Okay. So just a few things I should mention before we proceed is that, as we have seen, we'll be using Google Meet for our class, and I'll be sharing recordings and notes in the group. Okay. But the way that you will notice as we start learning that the way that the way that this course is presented, it is important for you to attend these lectures even if you have notes. So you're not going to stay away and say that I'm going to follow the notes or I'm going to watch the video. No, please attend these classes because this is a practical course. So as I will start teaching, you realize that I'll be expecting you guys to follow through as we are going through these sessions. Okay, there will be live sessions where I'm doing something and I'm expecting you to do it on your end, so that if you have any questions, you get clarity just there and then. Okay, remember, IT courses, they are, they're practical courses. They're not like theory courses where you just go easy by just maybe using notes. You need to follow through and do and practice so that you can get the most out of them. Having mentioned that, I also would like to mention that if you have a computer with you, please always have it as we have this class, so that you are following through as you are learning, so that you can get the most. So for those with computers, feel free to follow through. Okay, we'll be using Microsoft Excel. So every time we have class, just prepare your machine. Open your Microsoft Excel and just be ready for class. Okay. And the other thing I would like us to talk about, like I would like to ask from you, if most of you be comfortable, I'd like us to have you be having this class at 19 hours and not 20 hours, which is on the timetable. So I'd like to get feedback if all of us are available at 19, or there's someone who has another course at 19. Okay?
My side 19 is fine.
Okay, can I get feedback from others? I think 1930. 1930. Natasha, Shtuka. So you mean 19 is okay? 1930? 1930? All right. All right. Shituka. Maybe 1930 is fine. Just that, like today, 2030, I must start preparing going for work. Oh. Between 1930 is fine. There are days when I work, 4 days I work night shift. So, like today. Okay. How do you pronounce your first name? I'm avoiding your first name. Nako. All right. Yes. Okay. I've been avoiding it. There's one more person who has just joined. So I was saying I'd like us to be meeting at 19 hours and not 20 hours as indicated on the timetable. So I was trying to get feedback if everyone is okay with that. So Sydney, I'd like to get your feedback before we proceed. Is 19 okay? Most of you have said 1930 is okay. So is 1930 okay for you, Sydney? 1930 is okay, but 19 hours no. 19 hours no. 1930 to 20 hours is okay. Okay. So all of us are comfortable with 1930. Is that agreed? Like, okay, since all of us are saying they're comfortable with 1930. So we'll be meeting at 1930. I'm just going to say this in the group again, so in case there are people who haven't joined class today, they're not left behind. Okay? So we are going to proceed and now start looking at the contents of our course. Just to give us a course outline of how we are going to proceed. I know we have expectations. There are certain maybe I should ask this question before I give you the course outline, so that maybe I see if I can meet all of us before I give you what's available. Are there any expectations? Does any of you have something that they really want to learn out of this course? Something in particular that has to do with Microsoft Excel, of course? Can I hear if there are any expectations? Basically, let's to understand the whole thing, like the Excel. Maybe understand it better. Okay. But at least it can, help us in our various fields. All right. Thank you. Any other thoughts? Or we all have the same thought as Sydney? Okay, I'm just going to take it. We all have the same thought as Sydney. No one has any special expectation that maybe I should pay attention to. So I'm just going to give you the outline of this course. So we are going to do an introduction to Microsoft Excel. Okay, I'm not going to assume that we all have some basic knowledge, but of course, if the fact that you're doing advanced Excel, you should have some basic knowledge. Okay, but we are going to start from some introductions. We are going to do a few things such as maybe entering data. I'm going to explain some of the features which are found in Excel. Then I'm also going to explain, we are going to do some editing and modifying data. Basically, we are going to use a few tools which are in Excel that we can use to modify and edit our data just so that it's presentable on our spreadsheet. Then from that, we are going to look at functions. From functions, we are going to look at data validation, and we are also going to look at data visualization, and then we'll be done. Okay. The other thing I should mention that this course is supposed to the period is supposed to run for a period of 2 weeks, and each week has 3 hours. So we have a total of 6 hours. Okay. So it's a fast track course. You're not going to decide to stay away the other day. You'll be left behind. Okay. We'll be covering so much in an hour. So I will expect that we all move on the same pace so that we can get the most out of it. Okay. So I'm just going to start. I think I've given enough, unless there are questions from what I've talked about so far. Clarity. Nothing? Okay, great. So we are going to begin. All right, so we are going to look at the aim of this particular lecture that we are going to have. Of course, we might not be able to cover everything in this hour, but this is like the first lecture slides that we are going to have, and we're going to have the second one. Basically, the notes have been compressed in 2 lecture slides. Okay. So in the first one, we are going to look at a few things like I'm going to introduce Microsoft Excel, of course, and I'm also going to talk about the basic elements which I know at Microsoft Excel. Okay. Then by the end of these lecture slides, you should be able to know what Microsoft Excel is. Then you should be able to identify the elements which are on the screen, and also know where to go if you want to come to use a certain tool which is what in Microsoft Excel. Then also you should be able to know how to modify a worksheet, how to modify a workbook. By the time you learn how to modify these things, you already know what they are. Okay. And also under modifying a workbook, we'll look at inserting, modifying, deleting rows and columns, and also adding some rows and columns, basically. Okay. And also format an Excel worksheet. Okay. And then there are also key terms here that you are expected to know and being okay to use by the end of this. Basically, the end of this course. These terms, you should be able to know what they mean. When I say formula bar, when I say active cell, by the end of this course, you should be able to know what that means. Okay. So I've already talked about this, the things that we'll learn. So we are going to get started now. We are going to look at what Microsoft Excel is. Okay. We know that Microsoft Excel is a productivity tool, and it's part of the Microsoft package productivity tools. Okay. And for a fact that it's part of the Microsoft package productivity tools, then we can safely say that it was created by Microsoft. Okay. So it's an application, and it's part of this Microsoft package which has applications in them, and these applications, they help us to do most of our daily tasks. No wonder they are called productivity tools. They help us to do most of our daily tasks, maybe at the office, at school, in businesses. Okay. So we are looking at Microsoft Excel. So Microsoft Excel is a full-featured spreadsheet program that allows you to create spreadsheets, much like paper ledgers. I'm sure you're familiar. I don't know if you use paper ledgers. Paper ledgers can help you. They actually had rows and columns, and also small boxes like cells, which actually helps you to perform some calculations. So that's how spreadsheets are. Okay. And I should also be quick to mention that when we talk about spreadsheets, it's not only in Microsoft Excel where we're going to find to find spreadsheets. There are other application systems out there that you can use for spreadsheets. Okay? For instance, we have OpenOffice. OpenOffice is another productivity tool. Of course, it's not created by Microsoft, but it's an open source tool. It has all these applications, Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, and it also has spreadsheets. So if you don't have Microsoft package, you can install OpenOffice and you'll be able to use spreadsheets. Okay. The other example I can give also is something closer to home for us. I don't know those with Android phones. I'm sure you've used. I don't know if some of you have used WPS. How many have used WPS before? Anyone? No one? Or you'd rather not say? Okay. Basically, what WPS is, it's an application that you install on your phone. It helps you to open different kinds of files, but that's not all it does. It has these tools, it has these applications embedded in it. The same way we have this package for Microsoft. WPS is sort of like a package also. It has docs, it has slides, it also has spreadsheets. Very interesting, huh? So much that you can use spreadsheets even on your phone. Okay? So I'm just trying to give you a concept of spreadsheets, huh? Then we also have Google Docs. Google extensions, not Google Docs. Google extensions. For those who use Chrome as their web browser, you'll notice that Chrome has extensions, huh? So one of those extensions, there's sheets. There's docs, there's photos, there's Gmail, there's Google Meet, this one that we're using for class, and there's also what sheets. That sheets under Google extensions, you can also use it for spreadsheets. Okay, so what I'm trying to make you see here is that the knowledge that you will learn in Microsoft Excel, you can use it on any spreadsheets. Okay, you can use it on any spreadsheet. So don't limit yourself and say, okay, this is just Microsoft. Of course, the features will be a little bit different because the make is different. Microsoft is the one that makes Microsoft Excel. So those other spreadsheets will probably not have some of the tools which Microsoft Excel has. But basically, it has everything that you need in order for you to use spreadsheets. Okay. Any questions so far? Great. So we shall proceed now. We are going to look at some of the features which are in Microsoft Excel. I'm just going to run through these. Then I'm going to, at some point, I'll have to open the actual Microsoft Excel so that you can relate some of these features that I'll be talking about. Okay. All right. So we have each Excel file has a workbook. Okay. Each workbook can hold many worksheets. Okay, so you're going to have this one workbook that you're going to open, and inside that workbook, you're going to have a lot of worksheets. If you open a blank sheet from the templates, I'm going to show you this in case you don't really get what I mean. So there are a lot of templates. So when you open a blank sheet and it takes you to the spreadsheet, that is going to be maybe sheet 1, but you can actually have more sheets inside your workbook. So basically that's what this means when I say each Excel file has a workbook, and each workbook can hold many worksheets. So a group of worksheets are the ones that form a workbook. you know. When we only have one worksheet, we can't really say workbook, but when we have more than one sheet in a that we are working with, then that becomes a what? A workbook. So a group of what? A group of worksheets is what forms a workbook basically. Okay, let's proceed. So a spreadsheet is an electronic document that stores various types of what? Of data. Okay, there are vertical columns and horizontal rows. Okay, so columns in Excel, they are named using what? Letters, and rows are named using what? Numbers. That is another thing that you need to keep in your mind, because most people, they have challenges trying to differentiate between a row and a column. It wouldn't make sense, yeah, but there are actually people who struggle to distinguish between a row and a column. I think I was one of them until recently. I was one of them. But actually, Excel spreadsheets, they give you an easier way of knowing which one is a column and which one is a row. And this is very important as you work with spreadsheets, to know which one is a row and which one is a column. Yeah? So columns, they are named using what? Letters. So we have column A, column B, column C, D, and the list goes on. Those are columns. And then we have rows. Rows, they are named using numbers. Okay? So you're going to have row number 1, row number 2, row number 3, row number 4, and the list goes on. Okay? You're going to see this when I open our spreadsheet. Okay? So we also have a cell. A cell, this is where the column and the row intersect. So those small boxes that you find in Microsoft Excel, you know, they are boxes, huh? Those are called cells. Each one of that box is a cell. And we have another one which is a cell, and another one is a cell. So how are those cells formed? They are formed when a column and a row meet. Then we have one cell. Okay, you're going to see this. I think there's a picture that illustrates that. I think maybe it can make more sense. Then we have an Excel spreadsheet which can contain what? Workbooks and also worksheets. The workbook is a holder of related worksheets. I've already talked about this. I've said the workbook is going to have many worksheets inside. Okay. Let's see what's there in the next. Yeah, maybe for you to understand the following slides better, I should actually open a spreadsheet. But before I open a spreadsheet, let me just talk about this picture right here. Okay, this can also help. So basically, this is what I'm from talking about. These small boxes that you're seeing here, these are cells. And then we have, for instance, we have this cell here, which is in yellow. And then we have rows. I said rows are named using numbers. You can see the numbers this side, and you can see this is a row here and it's going this direction. Then the columns are also here. The column, they're named using what? Letters. This is basically what I was talking about. Okay, so let me just open a blank, let me open Microsoft Excel so that we can make it a little bit more practical. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing the slides just for a bit so that I can explain. I can explain the features as they are in Microsoft Excel, and not using the pictures which are inside the slides. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing the slides. Then I'm going to share Microsoft Excel. Kindly confirm if you're able to see my screen now. I'm sharing Microsoft Excel. So kindly confirm if you're able to see it. Okay, great. So these are templates that I was talking about. There's a blank workbook here and we have different templates depending on what you want to come up with. If you're already familiar with Microsoft Excel, you don't have to start from scratch. You can look up a template and then adapt to it. Maybe you want to come up with a monthly budget. You don't have to start from scratch. You can just click here and then use the template. Remove what you don't need, add what you need. That's how you use a template. We also have a calendar, a lot of templates available for you to use. We also have a business invoice, a balance sheet, student schedule, attendance report, all those templates. So if you want to come up with an attendance report, you don't have to start from scratch and think, how am I going to create an attendance report? No, if you're using Excel, you just look for a template and then you adapt to it. Okay, but we are not going to use templates because we want to learn everything there is for us to learn. So we are going to open a blank workbook. So I'm just gonna click on the blank workbook and it opens a blank sheet. This is our blank sheet. Okay, so I'm just gonna run through some of the tools which are here and the elements so that you know where to go if you want to find what. Okay, yeah, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is the tabs. Okay, the tabs, basically these are tools which you are able to see here on top. We have the home tab, we have the insert tab, we have the page layout, we have formulas, and we have data, review, and view. All these are called tabs. Okay, so when I say click on the insert tab, I'm basically referring to this insert here. When I say click on the page layout, when I say go to formulas, basically I'm referring to these tabs which are on top here. Okay, the other thing I should mention is on top of the tabs here where there's a red line, at the far end here where the red color starts from, we have quick access tools here on top. We have save, we have undo, we also have redo. When you click this drop down arrow, it provides you with a lot more tools which are available for you to use. Okay, so that you don't have to go and look for these tools on whatever tab they are on. No, you just come on the quick access and you'll be able to use them from there. Okay, the other thing I should mention is the file. This file here, you might be tempted to think that it's one of the tabs, but it's not. It's just file. When you click on file, it takes you here where you have options for coming up with a new workbook, opening an already existing workbook, where you save, and if maybe you want to change the location and you want to change the name, you can click on what save as. This is where you come when you want to print, also if you want to share, export, or close. Basically, all these options you find them when you click on file. So I want us to go back to our spreadsheet, to our worksheet. So I'm just gonna click on this arrow here and it takes us back in our worksheet. Okay, the other thing I should mention is that each one of these tabs here, it has its own tools on the ribbon. All this is a ribbon, where all these tools are. This is our ribbon. And when you click on the home tab, you're going to see different features, different tools which are going to appear on the ribbon. For instance, this is the home tab and we have clipboard here where you cut, you copy and paste. Then we have fonts here, where you can make something bold, where you can create borders, you can add some colors, we also have alignment here, and then we also have numbers, styles, cells, and editing. All these tools, they are under the home tab. So if you want to create borders to your work or to add some colors to your work or align your work, maybe left or right or center, you click on the home tab. And if maybe you want to do some specific, you want to specify something, maybe you want numbers, you want currency in a certain cell, you want short dates in a certain cell or long dates, or you want to add time in a certain cell, you come here under number. Then if you want to add some conditional formatting, you come under styles. If you want to format some cells, you want to insert a cell, delete a cell, all these tools which are here. You want to sort and filter, find and replace. All these, you click on the home tab. Okay. Then the next one we have is the insert tab. So when I click on the insert tab, you notice that the features also change. The tools which are available there, they also change. Okay. Under insert, we have so much visual. If you want to create some visualization for your data, you want to add some charts, you want to add some pivot charts, you want to add some spark lines, you want to add some filters, some hyperlinks, you want to add head and footer, some symbols, pictures, tables, whatever visual you want to add, be it a smart art or shapes, some of these you might not want to use them you might think, okay, I might not want to use them when I'm working with Excel. But anyway, they're available for you in case you ever need them. Okay? So we have illustrations, charts, reports, spark lines, filters, links, text, symbols, and also tables under insert. So if you want to insert anything, you click under insert and it will provide for you everything that you would want to insert. Then the next one we have is page layout. Page layout, basically, it helps us to edit how our data looks or how our page is, right? We have themes here for the pages and the fonts and all that. Okay. Then we also have page setup. What kind of setup do you want? Do you want an A4, an A3, an A5? All those options. Do you want a letter? Do you want it to look like a letter? Something like that. Basically, the size of your page. Okay. Then we also have background. If you want to add some background to your page, you can do it here under page layout. You want to change the width, the height, and the scale of your page. All those. You want to add some grid lines. This is where you put some settings, whether you just want to see the grid lines, or you want to print them out, headings, all those things. The next one is formulas. Okay. Formulas basically helps us to use functions in Excel. Okay, so we have different kinds of functions which are available. We have a whole function library for whatever function you'd want to use in Excel. Functions help us to perform some calculations. Okay, we are going to look at some of the functions and how to use functions. Basically, that's what we have under formulas. Then under data, you want to do some analysis, you want to validate your data, you want to clean your data, you have all the tools which are required for all that under data. Okay, then we also have review. Review basically helps you to edit your work. Yeah, it helps you to edit your work. Okay, it's going to help you do a spelling and grammar check, translate, add some comments, and make some changes. Okay, basically that's what you use review for. The next one we have, the last one is view. Okay, basically this gives us it helps us choose which view do we want to look at our data. Okay, there are different views here. We have the normal one, which is what we are looking at right now. If you want to do a page break, you can click on this one. Okay, you notice the changes. If you want to do page layout, you can also check how your page is going to look if you want to print it out. You know, basically all these views here. So I'm just gonna click to normal so that we can go back to the normal one. Okay. The next one I should are there any questions before we proceed? Any questions? Nothing? Or maybe there's no one here? Can I just get feedback so that I know people are getting me?
Can get you.
All right, great. All right. So we shall proceed. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the formula bar. I'm sure you're able to see the name there. I've taken my cursor inside the formula bar. You should be able to see the name there. It's written formula bar. Formula bar, basically it helps us to, we can see the content of a cell in a formula bar. Okay, and it usually comes in, it helps so much when you're working with functions. Maybe you've used a certain function in a certain cell, huh? So that cell is going to have the answer for that function. But when you check in the formula bar, you'll be able to see which formula or which function was used to come up with that answer. That's what basically what the formula bar does. Okay. For instance, if I type anything in this particular cell which is active, let me just type something. You notice I've typed F and B here in this particular cell. You are able to see the content on the formula bar, right? Basically, that is how the formula bar works. Just gonna delete this. Okay. Then the next thing I'm going to talk about is, I've already established about rows and columns. I've mentioned that rows are named using numbers. As you can see here, we have the numbers. We have row number 1. It goes all the way. I don't know how far it goes, but basically it's to row number 1, however far it goes. Then we have row number 2, row number 3, row number 4, and it goes on and on. Then under columns, we have columns named with what? Letters. We have column A, column B, column C, column D, E, F, G, and H. Like that, huh? Keeps going. Okay, that's about rows and columns. Then I'm going to talk about what? A cell. Okay, I'm going to talk about a cell. Remember, I mentioned that a cell is basically an intersection of your column and your row. Okay, so if you look at this particular cell which is active, when I say an active cell, I'm basically referring to the cell where whatever I'm going to type, that's where it's going to go. That's basically what it means when I say an active cell. And how do you know that which cell is active? Where there's a green, where there's this color green on across the cell. Okay, If you see, this cell is green here, which means it is an active cell. So when I click in another cell, this becomes our active cell. When I click in another one, that cell becomes our active cell. Okay? So to explain more about cells, this particular cell which is active right now, it's on column B, right? It's on column B and it's on row number 5. So where row number 5 and column B are meeting, they form a what? A cell. That's what it meant when we said a cell is an intersection of a row and a column. Okay? The other thing you should know about cells is cells have references or names basically. Cell references are basically names of cells. Okay? Then you also have to know how these names come, how you name a cell basically. How you know what name this particular cell has. Okay? How do you do it? The row and the column and the row that have caused the intersection for that cell to come about is where the name is going to come from. Okay, for instance, this particular cell, it's on column number what? It's a question. This active cell, it's on column number what? It's on which column? Column B, right? And then it's on row number what? 5, right? So this particular cell becomes what? B5. It becomes the name of this what? Cell. B5. When you check on top here, on the name box, you'll be able to see that there's B5, indicating that B5 is the one which is active. Okay? That is how you name cells. So when I click in this particular cell and it becomes active, you can see the name changes on the name box. It becomes what? A1. Why is it A1? Because it's on column number A. It's on column A and row number what? 1. Okay? When I make this cell active here, it becomes what? The name change. The name is what? D5. Why is it D5? Because it's on what? Column D, row number 5. Okay? Do you understand how the cells are named? Are there any questions? This is important information for you as we go on. Because when we start looking at functions, we'll just be using a cell range. You have to understand how cells are named. That's how you'll be able to come up with a range. So have you understood? Are there any questions on naming cells?
My side is clear.
Okay, can I? Okay. Great. I'm going to assume it's clear for everyone. So we are going to proceed. Okay. The other thing I should mention is about the sheets. Remember, I mentioned that this is book 1. This is the default name. We can give it whatever name we want, but the default name that my Excel is going to give is book 1 right here. And then this particular book, it has what? One sheet here. Down here, able to see where it's written sheet 1. I've taken my cursor there and I'm moving my cursor. I'm able to see where it's written sheet 1. Yes. So this is the name of this particular sheet that we are looking at right here. Okay. If we want to change the name of this sheet, we can change it by right clicking here on this same sheet, and then we can do what? We can rename it. Okay. So you can click on rename and give it whatever name you want, but I'm just going to leave it like this. What I want to show you is that you can actually add more sheets. To add more sheets, there is a plus sign here which is circled, a plus sign just after sheet 1. When you click on that, when you just take your cursor there, you will see it's saying what? New sheet. So when you click on that, you're going to have sheet 2. Okay, if you want to add another sheet, you're going to have sheet 1, sheet 2, and sheet 3. So you can have data on sheet 1, data on sheet 2, and also data on sheet 3. This data is going to be separate from each other, except it's all going to be in one workbook. Okay, so for instance, if maybe you are working at a school, maybe you are the secretary at that school, okay, and so you are the one who enters information about students, and maybe you decide to enter that data in Microsoft Excel. And so maybe you can come up with one book that's referring to your school, okay? I don't know what name the school has. So maybe you're going to call this book the name of your school. Maybe it's Twatasha School, So this workbook is going to be Twatasha. If you want to change the name, you go to File. Then you save as, and then you change the name, okay, of this particular book. Okay, but my interest is inside this book for your school, you're going to have different sheets. Maybe sheet 1 has information about students, sheet 2 has information about teachers, and sheet 3 has information about what? The information for the accountant. Okay? Maybe there's a sheet for the accountant that handles the school fees for the children. So you're going to have a lot of sheets in one workbook, which is going to have different kind of information. If you want, you can connect this information, but basically this is how it works. Okay, yeah. And then on the other side here we have what? We have a zoom panel where you can zoom in, zoom out. Right now I'm zooming out. You notice that the cells are becoming smaller, and then I'm zooming in. Okay, any questions? We are okay?
Yeah.
Clear? Okay, great. So basically this is what I wanted us to look at in order for us to get started. We are going to end here. We cannot start looking at something else. We only have like 5 minutes, and I need to transition to another class. So we are going to end here. Okay, we are going to meet on today is Tuesday. We are going to meet on Thursday 19:30. I'm going to send this message in the group. Okay, next week we are going to enter some data, and we are going to do some editing and some modifications for our workbook. That's basically what we are going to do. If there are no concerns, no questions, no clarifications, we are going to end here. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope that we'll be consistent. I love the numbers. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good night.